Ah, siren. Hi, Cedar. Hi, Cedar. Hi, Cedar boy. Cedar boy. You gotta pee? Okay. Hey, it's Annika with Sniff Dog. Are you terrified about going back to work? Are you feeling guilty about putting off crate training with your COVID puppy? Don't you worry, I'm here today to give you some super helpful crate training tips to get you successful with it once and for all. At Sniff Dog, we're here to teach you how to speak dog. If you can have a better understanding of your dog, you can have a relationship built off trust and fun. We want to come on this wonderful journey of pet ownership with you to help empower the love and connection between you and your pup. Whether you've got a new adult rescue in your home or a puppy, crate training is an imperative skill that you work on with your dog. It actually helps combat a number of common behavior issues, such as potty training, destructive behaviors, or even isolation distress. It can also be a super daunting task, as all dogs aren't crate trained the same way or as easily. So I put together a really tangible and practical training tip sheet for you. Make sure you download it for some extra tidbits from today's video. And as always, stay to the end for the bloopers, would ya? Today's 3 training tips are: number 1, get your dog accustomed to being comfortable in the crate with the door open. Tip number 2, get your dog comfortable being in the crate with the door shut with you in sight and out of sight while home. And tip number 3, get your dog used to being shut in the crate with you out of sight for longer and longer periods, as well as not home. What you'll need for today's video is a plastic or very kennel as seen behind me. You can also use a wire kennel. You're going to need a bully stick, a Kong stuffed with peanut butter, pumpkin puree, or similar, and lastly, some kind of interactive feeding toy such as a snuffle mat or a snoot ball. Whoops, also don't forget a whole bunch of treats, like a cup to 2 cups of treats or kibble. Lastly, don't forget your patience, you're gonna need it. Before we get started, I just wanted to cover a couple of myths or misconceptions about crates. Although crates are a small, compact space for a dog to hang out in, whether you're home or not home, they're actually not cruel at all. A lot of dogs actually find comfort in a small little cave or den-like space, such as a crate. Cedar here is under the table right now because the crate door is shut, but they do like to have some kind of cocoon or a safe place where there's something over their head often. So if you're worried about your dog hating it, that all comes down to how you condition them to like it. A lot of dogs, if you just throw them in the crate, of course they develop an aversion or a dislike of it. But if you can warm them up to the idea that the crate is a safe, comfortable, and happy place for them, they can very clearly and very quickly begin to develop a positive association of the crate and even a preference to be in the crate all the time. He's waiting for me to open the door. I want you to know, not all dogs take to the crate. Some dogs will have an aversion to the crate no matter how much training you do. And I think it's important you pick your battles. So if the general crate training methods don't work for your dog, it would be in your best interest to first hire professional help, but also to have realistic expectations. Maybe your dog isn't a crate dog, and that really is a thing. I will also note this video is not gonna help you if your dog has isolation anxiety. If they are very stressed being left alone, or even very stressed being separated from you, this simple crate training tactic will not help you, and I really do encourage you to ask for some professional help because anxiety isn't really something you wanna do quick fixes for. Now, it would be really easy to just open the crate door, put the dog in, shut the door, and leave, and then say to yourself, well, I think he's okay, I don't really know. When I come home, he sure is quiet. That doesn't really give us a clear read on whether your dog's okay in the crate. And rather than ripping the Band-Aid, what we like to do is a really slow and gentle approach, warming them up to the idea of not only going into this little den, but also being locked and shut in the den. That can be very scary for a dog that's not quite used to that. So our approach is to take it very slow and progressively, and slowly work our way up to being able to have our dogs in the crate for longer and longer periods of time. I'm gonna remind you, you're gonna need your patience on this because it might start with just a few seconds at a time that your dog shows comfort being in the crate. And over time, you're gonna slowly work them through that fear, anxiety, or discomfort and convince them that it is a great place for them to be. That's where I come in. Okay, let's get started. You want to put your crate in a high traffic area. If it's in a corner or a bedroom or a place not frequently traveled, it does feel more isolating to your dog than it would if it was beside a couch or beside a bed where you're hanging out all the time. So a high traffic area is where you want to have your crate at the beginning of crate training. As your dog gets more and more crate trained, you can start to put the crate closer and closer towards the area that you actually want it to be in, which often is in a corner or in a bedroom far from the common areas. All right, let's break down that first tip. Let's get our dogs comfortable being in the crate with the door open. The way that we do that is we make the crate the fun party place. Throughout the day, I recommend that you leave multiple hidden treats in the back of the crate. So when your dog walks past that crate, they smell those treats or even some kibble or food, and they go in there curiously looking for where the free food might be. You never shut them in during that time, and you're not even standing near the crate per se. They just start to think, when I walk past this thing, I get food inside it. Cool, I'll keep checking it out. Another way to make your dog love going in and out of the crate freely is to play the in and out game. In the in and out game, all you've got to do is toss a couple of treats into the back of the crate for your dog to go find. All the while you're sitting beside the crate and letting them do it on their own time. There's no pressure, coaxing, or cueing. When they go in and collect the treats, they are allowed to come out right away. The door is still open. When they come out of the crate, there's no treats. After a few seconds, toss a few more treats into the back of the crate and repeat this maybe 15 to 20 times. What they learn is all the treats are coming from the back of the crate and none of the treats are coming from your hands when they are out of the crate. That is exactly what makes them think the crate itself is causing the good stuff. Another really easy way of making your dog think the crate is a great place to hang out is to feed all of their meals in there. If the crate is the cause of all food, then they're gonna like the crate a lot more than they otherwise would have. So for this step one, you are not gonna shut the door on them. You are just going to feed all of their meals in the crate with the door open and you near the door for about a week. Now remember, every dog will progress to the further steps at different rates, so don't feel like you have to do it for a week with the door open. If your dog seems totally fine in the crate, you can quickly go to the next step in the training plan. Now remember, we want to start to get our dog comfortable in the crate for longer and longer periods of time. A sneaky way to do that is to feed their meals out of dispensing toys in the crate. So rather than gobbling up a meal within 30 seconds, your dog's working at it through a puzzle or a treat dispensing toy over the course of 10 to 30 minutes. That sure makes them think being in the crate is normal, but they're also distracted when they're in there, so they're not fixating on the fact that they're in an enclosed space. Since you're still at step one and trying to get your dog to like just going in and out of the crate or eating meals in the crate with the door open, I'm gonna recommend that you put all of your dog's favorite toys and bully sticks and chews in the back of the crate, sort of like it turns into a basket of good things. Instead of having a basket of toys over in the living room, you're gonna have it actually in the back of the crate during the day. So your dog has to go in and out of the crate naturally to go find whatever it is that they want to play with or chew on. When you're working through tip one, which is to create a positive association of the crate, meaning the crate equals all the good things that they get in their life. It's really important we never put them in the crate and shut the door before they show us that they are comfortable and very ready for that. So be patient when you're in step one. It is important to take it very slowly. Okay, you're on to tip number two. When your dog is okay being in the crate with the door open for a variety of lengths of times and reasons, whether getting their chew toy, their favorite plush toy, eating their meal, etc., we're gonna start to normalize shutting the door on them while they are distracted and eating their meals. So you shut the door while they're eating and you hang out right beside that crate to normalize that you are near and nothing is wrong. And as soon as they are looking like they're about to stop eating, you're gonna open the door before any vocalization, panic, pawing, whining, etc. If your dog stops eating when the door shuts, you are not ready for this step. Your dog should be so comfortable in the crate eating that you shut the door and they don't really notice. Now, when your dog shows no discomfort at all eating their meals in the crate, you can start playing the in and out game the same way we did in tip one, but in this version, we're gonna shut the door on them. So you toss a couple of treats in the back of the crate, shut the door. When they turn around and face you, you start giving treats through the sides, the back, and the front of the crate unpredictably, all the while they're just standing there waiting for the food to be delivered. When you're done, about 10 seconds of that, open the door,
Make sure there's no treats when they come out of the crate. Wait a minute or 5, and then start that exercise again. What they learn by that exercise is that when we go in the crate, good things happen. When I come out of the crate, all the food stops. That's what makes them think the crate is such a great place during this game. Once they're comfortable with the door shut eating their meals, maybe you start to give them their bully stick in the crate for 10 minutes or so. And all the while you're staying very close to the crate, very well in sight, so they have no reason to get nervous about the door being shut and them being separated from you. Once you see that your dog doesn't really care that they're in the crate, they don't really notice that the door is shut. Again, this might take you 5 days, it might take you 5 weeks to get to this point. Don't rush it. Once they're okay eating their meal, they don't really look up, they don't really fuss when the meal's over, and you're able to leave them in there longer and longer after they're done eating or chewing a toy in there. You can start to go for a very split seconds in and out of the room, or even moving closer and farther away from the crate while they're distracted. We always start small, so 1 second away from them and then come back in to their sight, and then 2 seconds away from them and come back into their sight. You are not going to disappear for 5 minutes. Again, micro chunks to get them comfortable and get them thinking that just because you leave the room, it doesn't mean you're gone for a long time. Once your dog's comfortable with you coming and going, they don't really lift their head, they're chewing their bully stick or eating their food puzzle for half an hour, that's when you can start to just leave them in there with the door shut and disappear for longer and longer periods. A couple of things that help with this part is watching them on a camera. There's many camera options. Personally, I use the Furbo. It has an app on my phone where I can see what Cedar is doing when he's in the crate in the other room. So I know when he starts looking up for me, or maybe pacing a bit, or doing some calming signals to relax himself. If I can see him on camera, I know exactly when to return, because you have to return before they are vocal or before they show that they're quite stressed out about you all of a sudden not being in sight anymore. You do not want to return and open the door after they've had a little bit of a vocalization or a freak out, because then they learn, oh my God, when I'm really scared and I freak out, she comes to my rescue and she opens the door and I get exactly what I wanted. If you do that, you're going to teach your dog freaking out causes them to be released from the crate, which then is going to be a very, very perpetuated problem that you're going to have to fix. So the key is to return before they have a little bit of a freak out by watching them on camera, or just not pushing it too fast and staying from a place where you can see them, but they can't necessarily see you. Now, in the tip 2 category of crate training, we're trying to normalize going out of sight for longer and longer periods while they are still comfortable in the crate with the door shut. If they do vocalize and you missed the window of being able to return before that happened, definitely reappear for them and come close to the crate, maybe even sit right beside the crate. You can put your hand up against the front of the crate, but try not to talk to them or open the door when you come back into their sight. Just have it known that you're there. That might soothe them enough to have them quiet. And once they're quiet for 10 to 15 seconds ideally, then you can open the door and pretend nothing happened. Play it super cool. Getting them used to being in the crate with the door shut and you out of sight longer and longer periods is best practiced when they're really tired, or like I said, them eating a longer lasting meal through a puzzle. After a big long walk or a big puppy play is the best time to put them in the crate and try to normalize that you are coming and going for short periods or actually going out of the room for longer periods. Okay, we're on to tip number 3. Once your dog is comfortable in the crate with the door open, comfortable in the crate with the door shut, with you coming and going in the home for short and longer periods of time, after exercise ideally, now you're ready to try to actually leave them in a different room in the crate for a long period, or actually leave your house. Remember, a camera so that you can watch your dog's behavior is really key here. If you let them have a panic and they panic for 20 minutes when you think they're just fine, you probably just undid all of your crate training to try to convince your dog that the crate is a safe place. So do not rip the Band-Aid, don't get excited, don't go for drinks randomly and just put them in the crate and say, hope for the best. That is going to be detrimental to them learning the crate is safe. And in fact, even more detrimental to them learning that when you leave, nothing bad happens for them. So if you actually are going to start leaving your dog home alone or working upstairs and having them in their crate downstairs, for example, they have to be ready for this step. And you have to have put the hours and hours of time into them learning to love that crate. To normalize you leaving and you getting ready to go back to work potentially, when they're in the crate eating their meals or chewing their bully stick or having that daily nap that you've been putting them in for when they're tired after exercise, you're gonna start to go closer and closer towards the door. I would recommend that you spend about 20 minutes walking towards the door, opening it, going out for a second, coming back in right away, all the while ignoring your dog. If your dog can't see the door, they can hear the door, so it is important that you work on that step. We do not want them to think, okay, everything's fine and dandy. She comes and goes out of the living room every so often, and then when you're gone, they panic. So you have to desensitize them to the idea that you go out that front door, but it does not mean you're gone for 3 hours. Sometimes it's 3 seconds, sometimes it's 40 seconds, sometimes it's 3 minutes, sometimes it's 13 minutes. But you have to get them used to that experience through hundreds of repetitions. Yes, hundreds of repetitions of you going towards the door and coming back in for varying lengths of time. Okay, generally speaking, once you hit the 15-minute mark of your dog being totally cool with you out of the house or in a different room for 15 minutes, you've made it through the hardest part. Most dogs will be pretty okay after 15 minutes. They'll probably just fall asleep and have a nap. If you ever have that you go back in your training and all of a sudden they're panicking in the crate, but you thought you were ready for that step, just go back a step. Don't push forward if your dog is showing discomfort or fear or a negative association of the crate or you leaving when they're in the crate. All right, so you've done tip number 1, tip number 2, and tip number 3. You're ready to go on with your life and maybe leave your new puppy or rescue at home. Congratulations, that's a really fun time. Make sure that you watch on camera for that first time that you actually do leave the house and go far enough away that you can't return if they have a meltdown. If they do have a meltdown, you just return. You go home as fast as you can, you walk in the house and you try to make sure that you ignore them, but go close to the crate to soothe them until they're quiet and calm for 10 to 15 seconds at least. The longer of the silence you can get, the better, because you want to make sure you're rewarding them for being calm and letting them out, which is what they want, versus letting them out when they're still vocal. Things that you are not going to do. If your dog is showing a sensitivity to the crate or you're just initially beginning crate training, do not use crate as the timeout place for other unwanted behaviors. Another no-no is to punish your dog by throwing them in the crate and being forceful about them getting in it at all. It's not suggested. Lastly, never leave them in the crate longer than you know that they can tolerate. If you create a sensitivity by pushing too hard too fast, you're gonna undo all your hard work and make it harder for you in the future. Be gentle on them. It's a new, strange experience. A sneaky little tip is that if your dog's not showing any crate sensitivities, doing more of the rip the Band-Aid approach at nighttime when you first get your puppy might be a really helpful way of setting them up for success. Puppies are really tired when they first come to us. They might whine a little bit throughout the night, but if you put that crate right beside your bed at the same height as your face at nighttime, lifted on maybe a piece of furniture, if you start right off the bat with that, crate training at nighttime will very much help your crate training during the day protocol. Okay, now I said if your dog is showing a strong sensitivity to the crate or you're really challenged by progressing with these general and simple tips, it means your dog's not the average crate training dog. A lot of dogs have sensitivities with crates, and that comes from their past experiences, whether from their breeder or the rescue they came from. Dogs from shelters often have confinement anxieties. If your dog is flown to you as a puppy or an adult, they will likely have a much harder time being crate trained. So this recipe is really designed for the dog that does not have predisposed confinement or crate anxiety. If you are in that situation, stop doing research online and start asking for help from a professional. I promise you it will save you long term to actually just get that help sooner rather than later. Signs that your dog is not the average crate training dog would be biting at the bars right off the bat when the door shuts on them, digging in corners of the crate, vocalization for 5 to 20 minutes. Longer than 20 minutes is true anxiety in the crate. Unable to tolerate at all being in the crate even for food, not eating any food in the crate, fixating on the roof of the crate and looking up all the time. These are all examples of dogs that are exhibiting strong sensitivities. If your dog can't eat in the crate, we have a little bit of a problem because their stress is too high and we can't associate the crate with really good food-related things. That's going to be really hard for you to progress with this training protocol. So ask for help from a positive reinforcement certified dog trainer. Woo! And there you have it. I hope some of these little crate training tidbits have been helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you are watching from YouTube, don't forget to press the subscribe button, the notify button so you know when our next videos come out, and like this video. If you're watching from Facebook, don't forget to tell your friends, share, like, and follow us on Facebook. Most importantly, don't forget to download the training tip sheet. I made it just for you. It's got all the stuff I said today in a compact PDF file for you to stick on your fridge. Now enjoy the bloopers. This is for the shoot. Hold on. Hey, Pat, come out. No, you don't have to eat it in there. We're done recording. Toss a couple of more tricks. Siren.
Hi, Cedar. Hi, Cedar boy. Cedar boy. You gotta pee?